Yeah. Focus.
Focus. Okay. What was your what was the difficulty you encountered?
Well, it's kind of weird, but I was just trying to not blink and stare at one spot, not move my eye. And I tried to do it for a really long time, and that was really challenging. But once I got through it, it was pretty cool.
What were you expecting from that meditation?
I don't know, just to clear my mind, I guess, because it was helping me focus. So I don't have much guidance, so I just kind of tried it.
Okay, yeah. All right. The reason I'm asking this, when I was a teenager, I was a bit of a wild teen, so anything that seemed intense and extreme was very attractive to me. So meditation, I was expecting to see some really wonderful things. Yeah. However, I encountered the same problem. Lack of the ability to concentrate. And that is probably one of the inattentiveness. That is, if we were to single out one thing that's most difficult, that's probably it. Inattentiveness. It doesn't matter what kind of meditation you're talking about. Now, it's very interesting that in the Vedas, this inattentiveness is described to be of three kinds. And if you can gauge yourself, you can check your own meditation pulse as you go through these. In other words, by knowing these three, you can know how far you got into it. And it also guides you, helps you go deep and sincerely into it. Yeah, I know. It's a modern disease. What do you call it? Attention deficit disorder.
I have it.
Huh? You do?
He's got it.
No, but that's, from the yogic point of view, everyone's got it. That was my point. Anyway, so I'll quickly list these three, and I try to finish all this in 10 minutes. So, we'll also give you tools by which you can overcome it. It's actually quite simple, but the thing is you have to put it into practice. Number one is sleep. That's the first type of inattentiveness. In other words, it's the grossest type of inattentiveness, where you just fall asleep. I mean, you're supposed to meditate and have all kinds of wonderful experiences, yet you fall asleep. And it's not uncommon. So for those of you who are beginning to meditate, like I practice mantra meditation, where you sit down, you could also walk, but the best is if you sit down. And you quietly, softly recite the mantra and you try to concentrate on it. It's also a type of a prayer at the same time. And I know so many folks fall asleep. So that is the first type. The other type of inattentiveness is distraction. Get
You're distracting.
It's distraction. And this distraction comes in two types. So we could say that there are four categories, but it's actually three, and one we divide into two subcategories. Internal and external. External would be external distractions like Canelo. Like waving hands. You're trying to speak and, someone's like, or you're trying to meditate and, I don't know, it's just the wrong place. Like there's too many external distractions. So if you sincerely want to meditate, we'll come back to it. I first want to list these. And then the other type of distraction, it's internal. It's internal where the thoughts just don't want to stay focused on the thing. And this is also not too difficult to overcome. And I'll give you the tools in a few minutes. And then the last one, the third one is neither you're falling asleep, neither you're distracted. In other words, you're focused, yet you're lacking interest. Now what I just said, this is for those of you who have been daily practicing meditation for long periods, this is something you need to deal with. In other words, you're not falling asleep, you're not distracted externally or internally, yet you're lacking interest. In other words, you're focused on the thing, but it's not emotionally involving you. It's not awfully too interesting. So, here's how we overcome these. Number one, we mentioned sleep. So in order to overcome sleep, first one has to have determination. In other words, you really need to want to do this. So therefore, you have to keep doing it every day. No practice. Without practice, you cannot get good at anything. And therefore, I mean, that was my fault. First, when I read the thing about meditation, there was a little ritual I did, and then I sat down and I was supposed to focus on a dot that I drew on the wall, and it just, I found it difficult. And I was thinking, what's wrong with this process? Nothing is wrong with the process. Because every single meditation takes you through these 3 stages. Unless you're willing to pay the price of advancing through these, you just don't get it. Just like jewelry. I mean, if you want to have a fake, cheap plastic jewelry, sure, you pay $5 and have a nose ring, earring, this ring, and the other ring. But it's plastic. If you want to have a real thing, you have to pay. So this is the price. But you have to keep doing it. You have to have this determination. And then there are many other little things that can help, like, for example, change of the lifestyle. Like, one has to regulate the lifestyle if one wants to meditate. That's just the price I wasn't going to pay. That's required. Change of a lifestyle, like diet. Mind of a non-vegetarian is awfully too disturbed. It's very difficult to focus such a mind. So that's a basic prerequisite for any type of yoga, to change one's diet and also one's daily activities. If you can regulate these, like you go to bed at a certain time, you rise at a certain time, like that, you eat at a certain time, then meditation becomes possible. This way you overcome sleep. So you have to have the determination to keep doing it and working, like it's a work, it takes some mental energy. Then you'll overcome the sleep. Then the second one was the distraction. So how do we eliminate external distractions? Any thoughts? Yes?
Find a nice place.
Find a nice place. That's all it takes. Find a place where there's no external disturbance, and if there is one, just toss it out. In other words, it's hard to, if you sit in the middle of traffic somewhere and try to meditate, unless you're super duper experienced, there are few souls in the world that are capable of anything like it, let alone someone who's just a beginner. So that's the first thing. If you find a suitable place, like every day I do it over in the temple. I do it early in the morning, 5 a.m. And it's really peaceful, quiet everywhere in San Diego, but in the temple especially, like there's no disturbances. So that's the way to eliminate external distractions. How about the internal distractions? Internal distractions are the departures of the mind. Like the mind just takes off. Try to focus, like I chant my mantra, and then the mind just takes off. And then I realized 2 hours later that I was thinking about, Mediterranean coast. That wasn't supposed to be the object of my meditation. So the way to overcome this is a bit of a hard work. In other words, every time the mind takes off, you have to, as soon as you notice that the mind has taken off, you have to take that guy and bring it back and focus it on the thing. So what will happen, that over time, these gaps are going to shorten. And eventually, they'll completely be eliminated. But unless you do this, you're not going to meditate, that's for sure. So, change of a lifestyle, eliminating external distractions, and then doing this work, this practice of course, I guess it takes also some humility, because sometimes, like, we pick up something and immediately want to become good at it, but we have to go through the infancy stage, which is not awfully too glorious, but that's what it takes. Bringing the mind back, and every time it goes off, you take it back. And then the last one is, you're not falling asleep, you're not distracted. In other words, you're completely focused. yet you're lacking interest. It's interesting that you can be focused in something. Perhaps those who never really dive deep into meditation may not. If you want, you can sit here too, as you like.
Come on in.
Okay, what is lack of interest a symptom of? Has anyone ever thought? Like when you lack interest, understanding? Well, perhaps, yeah. But sometimes you understand someone or something, and therefore you want to stay away from that something or someone. So, no. Yes?
Apathy. Not care.
Apathy, yeah. No care, but what's no care a symptom of?
Lack of emotion.
Ego, okay. What was it?
Lack of emotional involvement.
Lack of emotional involvement. Thank you. Bingo. Lack of emotional. In other words, let's see. Interest. Interest is the first steps of development of love. Like I have interest in, a girl. I don't, but I'm a man. So let's say. I do, but of a different kind.
How do you?
So you have an interest in a guy has interest in a girl. That's the beginning of love. That's the beginning, or anything. Interest in playing chess, or anything. Interest in playing music. That's the beginning of love. So lack of love means lack of interest. And how does one develop love? Interest? Yeah, but that's what we're stuck with. We're trying to overcome that. Association? Yeah, well, some people you just hate by associating with. They really make you not want to be with them. Yes?
Emotional connection.
Emotional connection, yes.
Passion.
Passion, these are all symptoms. Willpower. These are all... You have to have spend time. What is it? Obsession? How do we become obsessed? There's one unique quality that's really unique to love. Without love, it's a service. Service. Yeah. It's a thing we never think of in the West, I'm sorry to say. We hardly think of it. Love without service, it's simple nuisance. So to serve the object of your meditation, will develop love for it. And it'll develop great emotional involvement, great interest in it. Just like when as a monk, you resolve to serve whoever comes your way, and I don't know, a bum may come your way, and you develop interest. Otherwise, you have no connection with this person. You try to help this person, and because you try to serve this person, you get emotionally involved. You actually develop a relationship. You start feeling what that person feels. Right? That person's happy, okay, this is happiness. When that person's unhappy, you feel it. So, by serving the object of your meditation, the object of meditation is Krishna. So to serve Krishna is quite easy because that's a personal aspect of Godhead, so it makes it very easy. And therefore, when I sit down to recite my mantra, it just naturally, because dedicating my life to the service of Krishna, that there's a whole lot of emotional involvement. Okay.